In 1984, the NBA draft saw two great prospects chosen with the first and second overall picks. However, it was the third overall pick, Michael Jordan, who had the most significant impact on the game of basketball, eventually completely revolutionizing it. As for the 2010 decade, a similar pattern would seem to emerge. Although some of the selections of the top two picks in this decade proved their worth, it was often the player who slipped to third overall that would truly flourish. Despite a few number 3 draft picks having average careers so far, the sheer greatness of third overall picks raise valid questions as to why they weren't selected earlier. Today, we'll explore the journeys of every number 3 pick in the 2010s and try to understand exactly why they were overlooked. Welcome to SportSphere. Let's get into it. Having the first overall pick in the draft gives teams the highest chance of a bright future with the selection, but it's the player chosen with the pick that matters. So let's firstly acknowledge the number 1 picks that proved to be the top selections. In 2010, John Wall was the first overall pick for the Washington Wizards. He made 5 All-Star selections before suffering a series of major injuries and has missed 2 of the last 4 seasons entirely. Still, he had a much better career than Evan Turner and Derek Favors, who were selected after him as the second and third picks. The following year, the Cleveland Cavaliers selected Kyrie Irving first overall. He made the game-winning shot in the 2016 NBA Finals to win the title for the Cavs, and has undoubtedly been one of the top draft picks of the decade. The second pick, Derek Williams, was a bust that quickly went to play overseas, while Enes Kanter made more headlines with off-the-court issues rather than playing basketball. The following year was 2012, and the first draft pick saw one of the decade's best selections, with the New Orleans Pelicans selecting Anthony Davis first overall. While Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, selected second overall, was mediocre at best, and Bradley Beal, selected by the Wizards, has become an elite scorer in recent years. Fast forward a few years to 2015, when the Minnesota Timberwolves selected Karl Anthony Towns first overall. He's shown great offensive ability and has made 3 All-Star appearances so far. And to compare him with the second and third pick, there's no doubt that he's having a better career than D'Angelo Russell, and especially the third pick, Jahlil Okafor. Fast forward again to 2019. The New Orleans Pelicans selected Zion Williamson before the Memphis Grizzlies picked up Ja Morant second, and the New York Knicks took RJ Barrett third. This was a talented draft, with Ja showing most promise so far, while Zion has failed to meet the expectations, especially due to his inability to maintain good health. But considering the dominance of Zion while healthy, we can't rule him out yet. That being said, when we look at the remainder of the draft picks in this decade, this is where it gets interesting. In 2013, the tides started to shift, and the team with the first overall pick proved to regret their draft selection. In this draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers, still recovering from LeBron's departure, had another number 1 pick to draft young talent to complement Kyrie Irving. However, they opted for Anthony Bennett, a power forward from UNLV, who wasn't even projected within the top 5 picks. While it's true that the draft class was likely one of the weakest of the decade, the Cavaliers' poor choice of selecting Bennett was obvious as soon as Adam Silver called his name. Bennett's struggles were evident from the start, and it took 5 games to score his first bucket and 33 games to reach double figures. He averaged just over 12 minutes and 4.2 points per game in his rookie season, prompting the Cavaliers to part ways with him the following summer. Bennett's journey that followed was marked by fleeting appearances for multiple teams and underwhelming performances, leading all NBA teams to quickly give up on him. Meanwhile, Otto Porter Jr. had a rather mediocre career so far. However, he still had 5 consecutive seasons, averaging double-digit points, and was a part of the 2022 Golden State Warriors championship team. Injuries took a huge toll on his career, but when healthy, Porter Jr. was an okay NBA player, and has had a much better career than Bennett. While the second pick, Oladipo, had the highest peak in his career among the top 3 picks. However, he had numerous serious injuries. Regardless, he still made 2 All-Star appearances, was the most improved player in 2018, and was named to the All-NBA third team that year. After completely wasting the Bennett pick, the Cavaliers had another opportunity to choose first the next year. Andrew Wiggins, considered as a talent almost on par with LeBron James, was the obvious choice, yet the Cavaliers chose to trade him to the Timberwolves to quickly acquire Kevin Love, as the Cavs front office was striving for immediate success with LeBron's return to Cleveland. The Milwaukee Bucks picked Jabari Parker second, and the Philadelphia 76ers chose Wiggins' teammate from Kansas, Joel Embiid, at third. In retrospect, Embiid was highly regarded, but carried injury concerns due to a broken foot requiring surgery with a long recovery time. Both the Cavaliers and Bucks were cautious of the risk and stayed away, while the Sixers opted to choose him despite these concerns due to his talent as a supremely skilled big man. Regardless, as Embiid's recovery stretched into his second year, the Sixers still had moments of doubt about their choice. However, their risk in drafting Embiid proved to be worth it. In hindsight, Joel Embiid has emerged as the standout among the top three selections. Andrew Wiggins struggled to lead a team during his time with the Timberwolves, despite putting up decent numbers. And despite his skill, it seemed that his leadership skills and winner's mindset wasn't there, hindering his ability to become a top NBA player. Nevertheless, after changing scenery and joining the Warriors in 2020, Wiggins found his groove in a supporting role alongside Steph Curry, and ended up making the All-Star team in 2022, and even winning a championship with the team. The second pick, Jabari Parker, had a strong start to his career and was considered a rising star in Milwaukee in his early days, even showing more promise than Giannis Antetokounmpo at one stage. He achieved a career-high average of 20.1 points per game in his third year, but unfortunate injuries derailed his progress. The Bucks eventually traded him to the Chicago Bulls, and injuries have continued to be an issue, limiting his playing time and opportunities, and it seems like he's out of the league. In contrast, Embiid made a full recovery from his injuries and became the centerpiece for the contending Philadelphia 76ers for over half a decade. While he hasn't led the Sixers to the NBA Finals yet, he has achieved remarkable individual success, leading the league in scoring twice and earning the MVP award in the recent season. This undoubtedly puts the third pick, Joel Embiid, above both the players chosen ahead of him. In 2016, during the same year that Joel Embiid made his NBA debut, the Philadelphia 76ers selected Ben Simmons as the first overall pick. The Los Angeles Lakers chose Brandon Ingram as the second pick, and the Boston Celtics picked Jaylen Brown as the third pick. And this situation presents another instance where the seemingly obvious first selection at the time proved to disappoint. Simmons was hyped up and still had a great start with the Sixers, which did raise hopes that he and Embiid could lead the team to a championship. And the pair even initially seemed to complement each other and develop well together. Simmons achieved All-Star status in 2019, before making 3 consecutive appearances, and he soon signed a huge 5-year, $177 million contract with the Sixers. However, after this contract was secured, it seemed like Ben began losing interest in playing the game, and this would show on the basketball court. Simmons struggled to improve his jump shot over the seasons, lacked effort on both ends of the floor, and often seemed uninterested in playing ball at all. And after the famous defensive blunder on Trae Young in the 2021 Eastern Conference Finals, Simmons' future at Philly seemed to be over.
Tapping his way in, spins on Gallinari, gives it up, he was right there, and a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault.
Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
As we know, after this defeat to the Hawks, Ben Simmons faced significant blame and soon requested a trade, seemingly unable to handle the scrutiny. He was then moved to Brooklyn, but again, struggled to perform on a consistent basis, and his motivation to perform and lingering issues saw him spend more time on the bench than on the court, which quickly casted doubts on his future in the NBA. As for Brandon Ingram's career, things went quite differently. Ingram began quite well with the Lakers, but was traded to New Orleans in the Anthony Davis deal, leading to initial frustration. However, this saw him with a more significant role, and as his time at the Pelicans progressed, he improved his game and earned an All-Star selection in 2020, also winning the Most Improved Player award. while the third pick Jaylen Brown had a career that took a slower start compared to Simmons and Ingram. However, over the course of 7 years, it's clear that Brown has emerged as the superior player among the three. He secured 2 All-Star appearances, was named the All-NBA second team in the 2022-2023 season, and played a crucial role in the Celtics' journey to the 2022 NBA Finals. Brown also recently made headlines by signing a groundbreaking $304 million contract, showcasing his value to the organization that drafted him through his significant contributions, both offensively and defensively. Despite some small question marks regarding his ball handling skill, especially after the recent playoffs, there's no doubt that Jaylen Brown is capable of becoming a top player in the league. Fast forward to the 2017 NBA Draft, a year later, when the Boston Celtics made an attempted strategic move by trading the first overall pick to the Philadelphia 76ers. This trade saw the Sixers selecting the much-desired Markelle Fultz at number 1, while the Lakers chose Lonzo Ball at number 2. As for the Celtics, they would secure Jayson Tatum, who, as we know, turned out to be the standout player of that class. Unfortunately for Philly, Fultz's career got off to a rough start due to serious shoulder issues that severely impacted his shooting ability. He played only 33 games in his first 2 seasons with the Sixers, before being traded to the Orlando Magic, where he recovered from his injury and soon found a more stable role. Lonzo Ball faced significant hype when he joined the Lakers, largely due to the big mouth of his father and the media. However, he struggled to adapt in his early Laker days, particularly with his poor shooting form causing inefficiency. After the Lakers, Ball significantly improved his game while on the Pelicans, especially with a completely revamped shooting form. His time at Pelicans greatly improved his stock, and he soon signed with the Chicago Bulls on a big contract. Despite further improvements at Chicago, a knee injury unfortunately sidelined him for the entire 2022-23 season, and recently reported the 2023-24 season also. We wish Lonzo a speedy recovery, and hope he comes back with good health on his side. As for Jayson Tatum, selected by the Celtics, he's already emerged as one of the league's top players. He led Boston to multiple Eastern Conference Finals appearances, and even the NBA Finals in 2022. Tatum's impressive performance earned him All-NBA first-team honors for 2 consecutive seasons, and he showcased his scoring prowess by ranking 6th in the league, with an average of 30.1 points per game last season. Tatum's true potential seems limitless, and he now just needs a championship with the Celtics to solidify his position as a top 3 player in the league. In the 2018 NBA Draft, as you probably know, the 3rd overall pick again turned out to be the standout player of the class, after the Dallas Mavericks conducted a great talent assessment of Luka Doncic. Luka was an exceptional talent with a remarkable EuroLeague record, as well as being named as the EuroLeague MVP at 18, so many were surprised he was not the top pick in the 2018 NBA Draft. This was largely due to multiple busts from Europe in previous years, causing concerns from teams, as well as the media, enhancing these concerns of Luka's ability, especially highlighting his lack of athleticism. But as we know, this didn't matter. Despite his credentials beyond his years as an 18-year-old, the Phoenix Suns and Sacramento Kings decided to choose other players. The Suns selected athletic big man DeAndre Ayton, and the Kings picked the explosive power forward Marvin Bagley. While Doncic was originally picked by the Atlanta Hawks but traded to the Dallas Mavericks for Trae Young. While acknowledging Trae Young's exceptional skill, it's evident that Doncic's impact has been far greater. Doncic's quick rise to become one of the league's premier players has been nothing short of extraordinary. He's had consecutive All-NBA first-team selections for 4 seasons, an achievement unheard of for someone his age. Doncic even guided the Mavericks to the Western Conference Finals in 2022, and emerged as the 2nd highest scorer in the 2022-2023 season, with an average of 32.4 points per game. As for Ayton, he initially struggled with the Suns, before finding his rhythm alongside Chris Paul. Paul's leadership and playmaking improved Ayton's efficiency, particularly in the paint. Despite this improvement, the Suns do not seem to have long-term plans for Ayton, hinting at a potential departure. Meanwhile, Bagley's career trajectory has been disappointing. averaging about 14 points per game in his initial 3 seasons with the Kings. Bagley's inconsistency and poor health led to a trade to the Detroit Pistons a few years later. However, injuries have still been an issue, and he continues to be unable to see the basketball court consistently, although we wish him all the best. The NBA draft is a huge event for both teams and players, seeing young talent move from college or international play to the big leagues. Team scouts spend a lot of effort picking the best players, but their assessment of prospects can often go wrong. Unpredictable injuries can totally change a player's career path, and a player's character and work ethic matter too, where sometimes their attitude doesn't match the team's expectations. The NBA itself changes over time, with new trends and rules. A player might be amazing in one style of play, but struggle if the game changes. But still, if you're a top prospect with the mentality of a winner and are blessed with decent health, success is usually inevitable. As for the number 3 overall picks in the 2010 decade, most notably Joel Embiid, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum, and Luka Doncic, despite having 2 players selected above them in the draft, their relentless desire for greatness saw them effortlessly excel past those who were once considered a better prospect than they were. And although they're already top young players in the league, only time will tell how great they will really be. Thanks so much for 10,000 subscribers, guys. Let's see if we can get to 20K soon. Like the video if you enjoyed, and comment who you think is the best number 3 pick in the 2010 decade. Thanks for watching SportSphere, and we'll see you in the next video.